Hey everyone, it's Lainey and how are you guys doing today? I hope you are having a wonderful day so far. Really, I do. If you are new to my channel, let me start by saying welcome. If you are returning to my channel, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. You guys, today we are going to discuss something that a lot of other people before me have discussed and done an excellent job, but it's kind of controversial. It is the Tarte Shape Tape Foundation. I've never even used the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer until today when I tried this on for you guys. Before we jump into the video, obviously I want to use my voice for some good here. I'm not going to have perfect words. There's so many people out there who I feel like have probably put this more eloquently than I will, but Tarte really dropped the ball on this one. I want to say that I just hope, because I try to look for the good in people and think positively, I hope they just made a terrible mistake on this shade range. I really hope it wasn't from a PR stunt or from a nasty place in their heart. They should have had a better shade range. I mean, overall, the medium deep shades were honestly pathetic. I know that Fenty recently really raised the bar, so I could see how a company could have been putting together a foundation and not realized how much Fenty shook up the makeup industry with their amazing shade range. But Tarte really dropped the ball on this one. Several people have said that they thought this could have been a PR stunt, and I just really hope that's not the case, because that would not be okay at all. That would really be using discrimination as a way to gain in the beauty industry, and I don't think that's how you do it at all. So I really hope this wasn't a PR stunt. I hope this was just really poor planning on their behalf, because I would hate to think of a brand that is very loved in the beauty community like Tarte to put up forth a PR stunt like this. I mean, I really hope that's not the case. The shade range is not good. I've heard a rumor that they are going to hold back on the launch into Ulta stores until they launch more shades. I really hope they do launch more shades, because I think a lot of people would really like to try out these products, and there's definitely more shades on this earth than they launched. So definitely a lot of people disappointed with Tarte. I hope that they learn from this. I hope that other beauty companies can learn from this and see what's expected from new up-and-coming foundation lines. So that's what I'm going to say about that, and let's jump into the video. So I did prime with my ColourPop Crystal Priming Spray, and I just apply that to my beauty sponge and then dot it all over my face because the sprayer is way too high powered. I'm going to go ahead and start with the foundation. This is the Shape Tape Matte Foundation. It was $39 and you are getting, I believe, 1 fluid ounce. I picked the shade Light Sand. Oh my gosh, picking shades online is really hard. They do have a little quiz though that helped me pick this, so I do appreciate that, but picking shades online is so tough. So it is a doe foot applicator like the concealer, and I'm going to be real with you guys. I've never even used the Shape Tape concealer. I picked one up, but I have never used it before, so I know I'm a little late to the game. So I feel like I hopefully will have a very neutral look at this foundation, since I've never used the concealer. I don't know anything about the concealer. I haven't fallen in love with the concealer, so let's see how this works for me. It says it's vegan and oil-free full coverage foundation with a creamy texture and modern matte finish to complement our cult favorite concealer. It's supposed to smooth over pores and imperfections with rich, airbrushed, full coverage that dries to a flawless matte finish using a unique concealer-inspired wand. It's supposed to absorb oil and shine while leaving skin creaseless, hydrated, free of flakiness or cakiness, and helping to improve skin health with every application. They did launch a brush to go with this, but I don't like products that say, oh, works best with this applicator, because sometimes I just don't want to use that applicator. I want to be able to use what I already have, so I did not get the brush. I'm just going in with my BH Cosmetics sponge, because this is what I've been using lately. I think I might try applying one side with a brush just to see which I like better, and in that case I'll use the Morphe M439. Here we go. I hope the color's okay. Okay, I feel like this color's really good. I feel like that color is a really good match. And if the I can't talk. If the coverage is like they say it's supposed to be, then I shouldn't need a ton of product. I feel like that's a decent amount. Damp sponge. This color is good. Pretty good, actually. I don't feel like this will match me in the summer, though, because I'm definitely super pale right now. And it looks very skin-like so far, which I really like. I don't like cakiness on my face. So I know they recommend their brush, but I really like the sponge application, and I don't feel like it absorbed too much product. I don't think it took away too much coverage. It probably did sheer it out just a little bit, but I don't mind that because, like I said, I want it to look natural, and I think that looks really good. Here is an extreme close-up of the sponge side. I do like the doe foot, but one thing is you wonder if it's the most sanitary option when you have blemishes. I would try to avoid putting the doe foot directly on your blemishes. Whenever I use a brush, I always do short kind of swiping / patting motions. Does my brush have a scent or does this have a scent? Nope, it just smells like makeup. It must be my brush, the cleaner I used last time. Okay, so here's the one thing I'm noticing. It definitely dried down way faster on this side without the damp sponge. And it was kind of hard to blend out, like right in here. And I didn't have that problem with the damp sponge, so it dries down pretty quickly. And it looks a little drier on this side than the sponge side. I really think I like this side a lot more. The coverage is very similar. It might be just barely more sheer right in here, but this side looks more like my skin, and this side looks quite matte. Here is the brush side. I really prefer the sponge side. This is not a cheap concealer. It's $27, but I do feel like there's a lot of product in here. It just seems like a fairly big container of concealer, and I've heard it's crazy pigmented. It says it's their best-selling full-coverage vegan blendable concealer that instantly brightens, smooths, and shapes skin. I like all of that. I will definitely be using a damp sponge again to blend it out. I am going to dampen my sponge just a little bit more with my Caudalie Raisin Water. I got the shade Fair Beige, and I was really struggling with picking out a shade on this because I like it to be brightening, but I don't want it to be too light, and I feel like this, I'm just not sure if I made a good choice or not. I feel like that's decent. It is a little light for me, but not terrible. It could be worse. I almost got like the fairest shade, and I think that would have been really bad. I do love a doe foot applicator for concealer. Just makes it really easy to put on. I feel like this is going to dry down quickly, so I'm going to work fast. Ooh, that color is pretty light. Wow, I'll be really nice and bright. This stuff dries crazy fast. Oh my goodness. You don't want to mess around. I feel like my sponge needs to be just a little bit wetter. Wow, it dries very fast, you guys. That has caught me off guard. I mean, that's good because it will probably stay put, but it's like, whoo, oh, you gotta work fast. So I'm not gonna lie, I thought the coverage would be a little more intense under the eyes. It's coming across fairly sheer, and I don't like putting like a ton of concealer on. I know some people like to do that, but that's just like not my thing, so I don't know. I feel like I've used concealers that have better coverage. I think I'm gonna say it. My Unique has crazy coverage. Kat Von D Cream Concealer has crazy coverage. Just feel like my forehead looks so dry after applying that concealer, like crazy dry. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. I'm still deciding. Okay, and then the third thing I picked up is the Shape Tape 12-Hour Eye Primer Stick, $21. I love eye primers having oily lids. It's a 4-in-1 waterproof, crease-proof, creamy magic wand that brightens, corrects, primes, and highlights the eye area in one easy step. I love priming my lids because I do have very oily lids, especially as the weather warms up. So this has a pinky kind of peachy tone to it to color correct, which I don't dislike, but it's really creamy, which I'm like, ooh, it might be too creamy. I'm just using my sponge to pat it out. It is a little bit creasing up, just a little bit, not bad. And I do want to point out before I do my eyeshadow that I am really impressed with the fact that this concealer is not creasing and I haven't set it. So that might make this something I like a lot more, because usually I have to set my concealer so it doesn't crease, and this is not creasing. I am going to go ahead and apply some eyeshadow from the Sweet Peach palette by Too Faced to see how this primer works. It is creasing up on me, which is a little worrisome, but hopefully it will hold everything in place. Eyeshadows went on well. I don't feel like it was like a standout eye primer for me at this point, but to me the true test is how it wears throughout the day. That's how I know if it's a good eyeshadow primer or not. And now for some products on top of the foundation to see how they work. I'm going to go in with my Wet n Wild bronzer. So I did not set any of this, and that's something really important to point out, because with oily skin usually I have to set stuff for them to stay in place, and this isn't budging, which is a really good sign. Using my Kat Von D palette, it did not take any product away. Wow. With this not being set, I mean, it is not tacky at all. Wow. So yeah, that laid down really nicely. Oh my goodness. Using my Makeup Geek highlighting brush, which is intense. Going in with my Studio Makeup in Luminous Loose Blush in a color that I don't know what color it is. Here is an extreme close-up of everything finished. Okay guys, so my final thoughts on these products. I will try to do a check-in with some pictures as my day goes on so you can see how this stuff wore. But the main thing that I'm really impressed with about the foundation is the fact that I didn't have to set it with powder. And having oily skin, that usually never happens. And it's not creasing up on my skin, even in my forehead, like it's really not creasing up, which almost always happens to me. So not having to set something with a powder is rare for me. The same goes for the concealer. The coverage for me isn't as amazing as people make it sound. It's really good. I'm just saying I've used other concealers that have just as good of coverage, but the fact that I haven't had to set this is what's blowing me away. I can't believe that. And as far as the primer goes, only time will really tell on this. I like the way you can apply it in stick form. It's really creamy. I like the pink tone to it because I felt like it made my eyelids look really nice. But I will have to see how the day goes on for my final thoughts on this. Overall, I do really like all of these products. I do want to tell you a couple things though. If you have dry skin, steer clear of this because I think it would probably look incredibly dry on your skin. The fact that I didn't have to set it tells you how dry this is. Now, if you want to do a hydrating base and a hydrating setting spray, then you might be able to enjoy this foundation, but the dryness of this would not work for most dry skin people. I think you would put it on and feel so cakey, and I think it would age your skin because it would just stick to any dry patches. I also want to throw this out there. If you don't want to buy the Tarte Shape Tape Foundation because you're angry at the company or you're just not sure if it's something you need, whatever it might be, there are two foundations that I've used recently that I would say are quite similar, but not as matte. This is probably one of the most matte foundations I've ever used. The Too Faced Peach and Perfect matte foundation wears very similarly. The coverage is very similar. It's just a little bit less matte. And the NARS Radiant, the new one, is quite similar. Again, not quite as matte, but the coverage and wear is pretty similar. So there's definitely other options out there if you're trying to get this type of matte yet skin-like finish. So there are other options out there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I would love for you to be a part of my Lash family. Really, I would. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, all 3 places, because I love getting to know you guys better. And as always, please try to stay positive, because at the end of the day, that is truly all we can try to do. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.